Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday evening. I hope you all are doing really well. We're going to sit down and talk about Everton's final pre-season fixture today. Obviously Everton falling to a 4-0 defeat at Old Trafford against Manchester United last Saturday. Not the greatest way to end pre-season for Rafa Benitez's Everton side, who of course start their Premier League campaign this coming Saturday at Goodison Park against Southampton. As with all of the other pre-season games, we've sat down on the Monday after or a couple of days after and we've spoken about the result, we've spoken about the performance, and we've sort of tried to dissect what we've taken from the game, albeit it being a pre-season game. And I think we have to remind ourselves that with this game a lot more than the others certainly, albeit it being pre-season, and obviously we know that pre-season is pre-season is all about fitness and building fitness and getting all of that up and all of that sort of stuff. We still have to sort of take some negatives away from a 4-0 defeat to Manchester United, don't we? Let's be honest, because it was absolutely shocking. It really was. But look, again, like I said, we also have to remind ourselves that it is still pre-season. Pre-season is all about fitness. It's all about players sort of getting in the shape and preparing for the Premier League season. And we can't take the results at least too seriously anyway. But look, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the game in today's live stream. If you're enjoying it and you're enjoying while you're watching, please do hit that like button. If you're watching live, don't forget to get involved in the live comments. That would be absolutely fantastic. If you're watching the YouTube video, get your thoughts in the comment section down below. So obviously Everton playing Manchester United, a fixture that was announced a long time ago, a few months back actually. And of course our first game back in action after the return from Florida. Obviously Everton having a very successful trip over in Orlando, coming away not only Florida Cup champions but also with a win against Pumas in the friendly just before the team headed home a couple of weeks ago. We returned home on the Thursday afternoon. We didn't have any game on that following Saturday, of course, due to only returning home on the Thursday and jet lag and all of that sort of stuff. And then obviously we led into another full week of training. Dominic Calvert-Lewin returning to training, Jordan Pickford returning to training, Yerry Mina returning to training as well. And then obviously we played Manchester United on the weekend. And I think we were all going into this game knowing that it was going to be a difficult test. Manchester United, of course, are a fantastic side. I read an article going into the game as to state that Manchester United maybe weren't as far down their pre-season plan as they maybe should have been. And if that's a Manchester United that aren't as prepared as they should be, then I'd love to know what that Everton side is. But look, all jokes aside, we were coming up against one of the best teams in the Premier League. Let's have it right again. I'll always sit here and say that I think Everton are, a level with sides like Leicester and West Ham, and the odds of the teams like, Leicester, West Ham, Everton, Wolves, etc., getting into Europe are similar every season. But then there's that sort of step up, and the likes of your Manchester City, your Manchester United, I feel are in that sort of step up quality. Chelsea up there as well, and we've known that for a long time. Although Manchester United haven't been as good as Manchester City in recent years, they've certainly been a lot better than Everton have, let's be honest. League position will tell you that. So we knew it was always going to be a difficult game, but that's what we wanted last game before the Premier League season started. Obviously we'd had a number of friendlies prior to it, a couple against lower league oppositions before we went to Florida, a couple of difficult games in really difficult conditions over in Florida, and then obviously this being the biggest test against the Premier League side in front of a very packed out Old Trafford. It wasn't full, I don't think, because I would think there was certain sections of the stadium that weren't open, but there was certainly a lot of Evertonians there, a lot of Evertonians that outsung a lot of Manchester United fans as well. The atmosphere was unbelievable. When the players were walking out onto the pitch, all you could hear was the Evertonians, all you could hear was the Everton fans singing and screaming and shouting, and it was amazing. If you're one of those fans that got the chance to go to Old Trafford on the weekend, and hopefully you forgot about the result and the result didn't mean too much, I hope you all had an absolutely wonderful time just being back watching Everton. I must say before we go any further, apologies that the stream is a little bit late today. it is my girlfriend's birthday tomorrow, so I've been absolutely ran ragged, running around town, trying to sort out last minute bits, this, that and the other. So I've just been everywhere today, here, there and everywhere, so I haven't been able to stream earlier on. But you know what, I thought, no, we're going to sit down tonight, we're going to make the time, and we're going to talk about the game, because it wasn't the greatest result, but we've spoken about every other pre-season game, so why not? But yeah, like I said, atmosphere was absolutely electric, and it was brilliant to hear the Everton away support back in, full throttle, back supporting the Blues. It's a shame that the performance on the pitch in that opening first 15-20 minutes didn't quite it didn't quite reflect the support in the stands, did it really? Because it wasn't a great start whatsoever. Let's go through the team before we get into any of the sort of bits and bobs of the game. So Rafa Benitez lined up with a really, really strong Everton side for this game. Jordan Pickford making his way back into the Everton starting 11. Obviously, like we said before, Jordan returned to training last Monday, a week ago today. So he'd been in full training practically a week and was thrown straight into the game against Manchester United. We had a backline of Seamus Coleman, Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey and Luca Dean, a midfield of Alan, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alex Iwobi, and a forward line of Damari Gray, Andros Townsend and James Rodriguez. So other than the attack, which we'll go on to talk about in a moment, pretty strong lineup, that one. We said, last week, didn't we, on Friday, when we were talking briefly about this game, that the starting 11 that we'll likely see against Manchester United will be there or thereabout the starting 11 that we'll see in the opening Premier League game against Southampton, give or take maybe a couple of changes, because that's typically how it goes. The team that you see start the last pre-season game is typically the team that you'll see start the opening Premier League game. And yeah, look, again, like I said, barring the forward line, which we'll talk about in a second, a very, very strong Everton side, strong defence. Luca Dean, Seamus Coleman as the fullbacks. Obviously, there are number one full, right and left back, so no panics there. Obviously, Jordan Pickford starting in goal, the number one goalkeeper. Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey was interesting. A lot of people would probably say that Yerry Mina should be in there over Michael Keane. Obviously, Yerry Mina only just returning to training, like I said, same time as Jordan Pickford, so maybe that was a reason as to why Yerry Mina didn't start, because of his lack of pre-season training so far. But other than that, a pretty strong defence and a pretty strong midfield, and a like I said, a defensive midfield that you would expect to see on a Premier League afternoon for Everton. No real surprises in there. Obviously, Jean-Philippe Gbamin wasn't involved in the game. He was left out for a precaution. Same with Andre Gomez. Quite disappointing, because it would have been nice to see Jean-Philippe Gbamin starting, or at least getting some form of game time against a really, really tough opposition. Again, look, no disrespect to Millonarios or Pumas or, any of the lower league clubs that we've played in previous pre-seasons, but Manchester United, that were a massive, massive test. They're a fantastic side, a side that will be challenging for the Premier League title this season. They mightn't win it, and they mightn't give Manchester City as good a race as they would like, but they'll certainly challenge for it. They'll be within the top 2 or 3 positions. I can almost guarantee that. So it would have been nice to have seen Jean-Philippe Gbamin, coming up against an opposition that right, okay, if you can turn up and do it here, if Jean-Philippe Gbamin had played on Saturday afternoon and had looked menacing and dominating in the midfield, and he'd have been battling and working hard and looking like he wasn't out of place, then you'd look at him and go, this lad could seriously be a game changer next season. So it was quite disappointing that we didn't get to see that. Andre Gomez, obviously left out with precaution as well. Not too sure what Andre Gomez's precaution is. Maybe it was a, precaution of messing his hair up or something, but he didn't feature. And then the biggest disappointment of them all was Dominic Calvert-Lewin being left out. He picked up a slight injury in training during the week and unfortunately wasn't fit to make the game. Now, this was obviously a shock to us, because we all wanted to see and thought I'd expected to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin back in the starting 11. Obviously, he returned to training, like I said, with Yerry Mina and Jordan Pickford earlier last week, and it would have been nice to have seen Dom in action, obviously, before the Premier League season. Certainly given the fact that, the forward line that we had to put out on Saturday didn't help us whatsoever. I tweeted out on Saturday afternoon, don't know if anybody's seen it. A lot of people were saying, when we were 3-0 down within 30 minutes, a lot of people were saying, this was typical Everton, And I just tweeted out, it's not typical Everton. What's typical Everton? As we play one of the best teams in the country a week before the season starts, and we've got no fit strikers to play. We're having an injury crisis before the season's even started. Moise Keane out, don't know where, don't know why. A couple of rumours floating around the internet regarding certain things, but I'm not going to address them because they are but that at the moment. But again, he wasn't involved, and obviously we know Dominic Calvert-Lewin had picked up an injury as well. So our forward line was very, very makeshift, let's put it that way. Demarai Gray in there, which was nice to see. Good to see Demarai Gray getting a start again against a tough opposition. Really good chance to see, him in action and what he can bring in tough Premier League games. Andros Townsend, of course, starting as well, and then James Rodriguez starting in like a false 9 sort of mad position with Alex Iwobi behind them. So other than like I said, the forward line, which wasn't ideal, we started with a pretty strong team there, and obviously, look, it would have been a lot better for us to have had a natural striker on the pitch, a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a Moise Keane, because there was a couple of opportunities throughout the game, certainly in that second half where, we were putting balls into the box, or we were threatening, we were threatening on occasion, but we just didn't have that natural striker in the box. We just didn't have that number 9 to put the ball into the back of the net. And you could see that, like I said, you could see that in the second half when we actually started to grow into the game a little bit, it really hindered us. But the first half, let's be honest, was absolutely dreadful, wasn't it? It was absolutely dreadful. One thing I would say before we go into talking about the game, in regards to the team, and the team that started, good to see, obviously, young Lewis Dobbin on the bench after scoring 3 consecutive hat-tricks in his last 3 pre-season games for the under-23s. It was really, really nice to see him, earn a spot on the bench and obviously ultimately get some game time in the end. He come on, didn't he? But the rest of the bench was Asmir Begovic, John Joe Kenny, Mason Holgate, Fabian Delph, Yerry Mina, fit enough to make the bench. Niles Nkunku, who of course has just returned from the Olympics with France. Anthony Gordon, Tom Davis, Nathan Broadhead and Harry Tara. And of course, like we just mentioned, Lewis Dobbin. So yeah, like I said, it would have been nice for Everton to have started the first half, certainly in the way in which they grew into the second half. But in typical Everton fashion, we didn't really, did we? Last time we turned up to Manchester, it was on the final game of the season. We got slapped everywhere and were basically the entertainment. And to be fair, it wasn't much difference on Saturday, was it? And again, like you said, you do have to sort of take yourself out of the situation and remember it's a pre-season friendly, it's a week before the season starts, it's all about fitness. We were coming up against a tough Manchester United side, the Manchester United side that had the likes of Anthony Martial, Bruno Fernandes in there, and Paul Pogba come on in the second half. A very strong Manchester United side, by the way. I think they were only missing Jadon Sancho in regards to what would have been their strongest side, maybe, Cavani as well. But yeah, it wasn't a great start, was it? It really, really wasn't. You could tell within the first 5 or 10 minutes, Everton were fluid in the game. We were moving the ball, but again, that lack of any real target man up front was really starting to hinder us. Demarai Gray, for as good as he is, and for as good as he is on the ball, and I actually think Demarai Gray played well, to be honest with you. Some people might disagree with me, but actually, Demarai Gray actually, he impressed me a lot on Saturday, but, he's not going to stand up there at the top and win headers like Dominic Calvert-Lewin can. He's not a target man. He's not going to bring the ball down in the same way as that Dom can bring the ball down. So, it was difficult from the off because we didn't have that big natural number 9, that striker to not only, get the ball in the right areas and get in the box, but also to pick the ball up as well. Andros Townsend was catching himself on the wing, trying to take players on. James Rodriguez was, again, in and around the game, was never really massively in the game, but was sort of floating in and around dangerous areas, not really picking the ball up. And it didn't take long for Manchester United to open the scoring, did it? Let's be honest, they had an awful lot of the ball in that opening, 5 or 10 minutes it was before they scored the opening goal. Everton were looking okay. Defensively, we looked okay. They weren't really threatening us, but they did have about 99.9% of the ball. And the first goal, unfortunately for us, comes from a pretty howler of a mistake that, as soon as I seen it, I sort of put my head in my hands, really, because if there was one Everton player on that pitch I didn't want to make a mistake on, I didn't want to make a mistake on Saturday, it would have been Jordan Pickford, and unfortunately it was Jordan who made the mistake. Quite an easy situation, really. Ball is bouncing around in a dangerous area, but an area that we should be more than capable of defending, and it falls to Luca Dini, heads it into the chest of Jordan Pickford. It just completely bounces off of Jordan. He mistimes his decision, makes the wrong decision and mistimes the decision, and then it falls comfortably to Mason Greenwood, and Mason Greenwood scores arguably the easiest goal he'll score in his career. And like I said, I think I'm not the only Evertonian who would have sort of had their head in their hands at this point, not only because we were 1-0 down in the last pre-season friendly, and it was, within the first 6 or 7 minutes, and it did sort of have that feeling. All I kept thinking of was flashback to the Etihad on the last game of the season. That's all I kept thinking on Saturday. I just thought, oh my God, don't be another one of these. Don't be another one of these. Turns out it was going to be another one of them. But I sort of, like I said, you just put your head in your hands straight away, don't you? Because you think, Jordan, and you know what's going to happen, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. You were going to go on social media and all of these sporting accounts who don't have a clue about sport but just jump on the latest trends are going to be all over it. Jordan Pickford back in an Everton shirt, making mistakes, this, that and the other, and that's exactly what it was. There was a number of them, I'm not going to say them because I think they're idiots and they don't deserve the exposure, but there was a number of these accounts that were praising, I'm not talking about Everton fans by the way, I'm talking about these footballing accounts that were praising Jordan Pickford 4 or 5 weeks ago of being a national hero, and he makes one silly mistake in his first game back within his first week back at Everton Football Club, and everyone's back on it's Jordan Pickford, this, that, little arms, this, that and the other, and I just sort of, again, it just wasn't what we needed, was it? And look, Jordan's a strong character. I'm sure he won't let it get to him, and hopefully he doesn't, because again, it is merely a pre-season friendly, and hopefully that's Jordan Pickford's clanger of a mistake out the window. Now hopefully we can sort of put that to one side, put that on the shelf, and go, right, okay, that's your silly mistake that you should never have made. Now we don't have to make another one of them for at least half the season anyway. But no, yeah, like I said, it was poor. It was poor. I know I've seen some fans having a go at Luca Dean for it, and maybe criticising Luca Dean. And maybe Luca Dean shouldn't have been trying to head it back to Jordan in that situation, because it was a little bit tight and Mason Greenwood was lurking. But ultimately, look, you expect your goalkeeper to pick the ball up. You expect your goalkeeper to hold that ball. You expect your goalkeeper to be able to deal with that. He didn't. It bounced off him. And Mason Greenwood, like I said, probably got the easiest finish of his career, and he puts Manchester United 1-0 up, and all of a sudden you're thinking, right, okay, again, they haven't been massively in this game. They've scored what is a disappointing goal to concede, because it's come directly from a mistake, and if it wasn't for our mistake, there was absolutely nothing in the situation whatsoever. It wasn't like we were forced into making the mistake by Manchester United. We made it ourselves. And you're thinking, right, get your head up and get back in the game. Now, back to 0-0. You made a silly mistake. It's only a couple of minutes into the game. Get your head back up and get your head back in the game. And unfortunately, from that point on, certainly in the first half, I just don't think we ever really settled into the game. Again, Manchester United continued to pick the ball up, continued to have the majority of the possession. We were trying to get forward on occasion and trying to break the play down. James Rodriguez was trying to do as much as he could, but couldn't really do much, could he? Let's be honest. Andros Townsend was trying to get in dangerous areas, but couldn't really do much. Same with Damari Gray, he was picking the ball up, running at players, trying to thread passes in. But again, there was nobody on the end of it. And I think that, again, look, I'm not going to sit here and, start talking for 15-20 minutes about injuries and how injuries have affected us, because A, it's a pre-season game and it doesn't really matter that much, and B, again, I'm just not going to sit here and do it. But Damari Gray isn't a player that is, Damari Gray is the player that picks the ball up in the midfield, runs at the defence, takes 3 or 4 players on and slots the ball into the striker. But unfortunately, in this occasion, Damari Gray was that striker. So when he was picking the ball up in the midfield and, moving past a couple of Manchester United players, and I think looking for that threaded ball into whoever was up top, obviously there was no one up top to play it into, because, again, we didn't have a natural striker on the pitch. So again, we were really struggling to deal with that. Manchester United go up the other end, get a corner. Again, Everton caught in possession a couple of times. We just looked all over the place. And again, I know, like I said, pre-season, and don't take too much from it and this, that and the other. I get that. But I can't lie, it was slightly worrying. We're a week away from the Premier League season. For as much as we can say, it's only pre-season, it's all about fitness, this, that and the other, you look at situations like that, you look at Everton going 1-0 down, and you sort of think, well, hang on, we're 1-0 down here, and we've sort of, again, we seem to have just absolutely capitulated. The shape had gone, like I said, the fluidity wasn't really there. We were getting pounded on the counter-attack. Every time Manchester United picked the ball up and come at us, we looked like a Sunday League side, and they looked like a Premier League side. We just looked like we couldn't deal with that pressure, we couldn't deal with them coming forward at us. And yeah, like I said, it was frustrating, because we were all over the place. We were, disconjointed, which is strange, because in the previous pre-season friendlies we've watched, if there's one thing Everton have been, I think we'd all agree with, is we've been organised, we've been structured, we've defensively we've done well, we've been very solid. Whereas on Saturday, Like I said, there was times when we looked a little bit everywhere. Again, like I said, Man United picked the ball up about, this is on about the third, fourth occasion that Everton have tried to get forward, tried to get back into the game. Alex Iwobi had an absolute blinder of a chance. I can't remember if it was at 1-0 or 2-0, but he had an absolute blinder of a chance that he should have been scoring. Let's be honest, he should have been scoring. Really, really frustrated that he didn't. Chip ball comes in. I think it's Seamus Coleman ends up putting the ball in the end, and Alex Iwobi's on the back post. Nobody on him whatsoever. Completely free at the back post. Free shot, and he shoots wide. And you just look and thinking there, you've got to be more composed. You've got to be better in those situations. Those are the chances that you've got to be better. Okay, it's a pre-season game and, we can look past it and it's not the end of the world. But if that's a Premier League game and you're 1-0 down at Old Trafford and you get a chance like that to get back into the game, you've simply got to be scoring those opportunities. And he didn't. He missed again. Put it, past the post. Like I said, United go up the other end, get a corner. Ball comes in and Harry Maguire's on the end of it and it's 2-0. And all of a sudden it's 15 minutes in. 20 minutes in, we're 2-0 down, and you're sort of scratching your head thinking, this isn't going to be a pretty afternoon, is it? It's really, really not. And again, the goal is massively frustrating because you look at it on the replays and stuff, and listen, I don't know if we were zonal marking, I don't know if we were man-to-man marking, I don't know if we even bothered marking at all, to be honest with you. It didn't look like we were marking, but you look at the goal on the replay and you've got Luca Dean marking Harry Maguire. Now, Luca Dean is, an unbelievably amazingly talented footballer, a fantastic footballer. We know, and I don't think this is outrageous to say, we know he's not the greatest defender in the world. He's a good defender, but he's not the greatest defender in the world. But even taking all of that away from it, not being the greatest defender, this, that and the other, he's nowhere near the height and size of Harry Maguire. So why is Luca Dean marking Harry Maguire on a corner? Now, some people might come in Rafa Benitez's defence and say, well, it's zonal marking, Cam, and that was Luca Dean's zone, and Harry Maguire moved into Luca Dean's zone. But I don't understand that for me, because Harry Maguire, if it was zonal marking, then clearly Manchester United would have gotten onto that, and Harry Maguire's looked and gone, okay, I might be stood next to Yerry, I might be stood next to Michael Keane now, or I might be stood next to Ben Godfrey, the players he should have been marked by. But if I'd have a bit of movement and I move into that space, then I'm being marked by Luca Dean, and I know full well I'll beat Luca Dean in a jump, in a height race for the ball. I know that 100%, and that's exactly what happened. Harry Maguire moved into that area, marked by Luca Dean. Luca Dean, as expected, could get nowhere near him. He gets on the end of it, he puts the ball in the back of the net, and it's 2-0 all of a sudden, and that just really frustrates me. Again, the zonal marking debate is one for another day. I know a lot of fans just like the old-fashioned man-to-man marking, and that's understandable, but zonal marking in some cases does work. It's worked for a lot of teams over the years, but in this situation, I looked at it and I thought you can't have a situation in a Premier League game where your left back, who might be 5'9", 5'10", something like that, is marking an opposition centre half in a corner who's 6'3", 6'4". He's going to be beaten every single time. 10 times out of 10, he'll be beaten for that to that ball. And Harry Maguire is a good header of the ball. He is a good header of the ball, and he showed that, and he heads it into the back of the net, and it's 2-0 to Manchester United. And all of a sudden, again, like I said, flashbacks of the last time we were in Manchester start to fly in. All of a sudden, oh my God, is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? What, is this going to be a complete and utter embarrassment? I think the commentators, Graham Sharp and Darren Griffiths, it was even said, look, even though this is a pre-season game and it doesn't really mean much, we can't be embarrassed. We can't be leaving Old Trafford, by being beaten by 4 or 5, because that's just not good enough. And yeah, like I said, we go 2-0 down, nothing really changes. We still look disjointed, we still look like we can't keep our foot on the ball, can't keep control of possession. United go up the other end and we give away a silly free kick. Now, again, if you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Loads more content coming up. We won't be live tomorrow. There won't be any content tomorrow. It is my girlfriend's birthday, so I've got an awful lot of things to be doing, which I can't say in case she's watching. So we won't be doing a video tomorrow. I hope you can forgive me for that. But if you do subscribe, we'll be back on Wednesday, Friday. Obviously, we've got season preview this week. We've got preview to the Southampton game as well coming up later in the week. So we'll have all of that content, of course, leading into Everton's first Premier League game of the season on Saturday against Southampton. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you're new to the channel and you're enjoying this sort of stuff, it would mean a massive amount to me. And if you're enjoying the stream, leave it a like. Get your thoughts in the comments. We'll get in the comments in a moment. And like I said, if you're watching this YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. But yeah, again, we give a free kick away in a silly area. Look, we're not going to talk too much about the free kick in itself because it's an absolute blinder, isn't it? You know, Bruno Fernandes, don't like the player, think he's a sly, horrible player, but he hits this one from about 35 yards. There's nothing Jordan Pickford can do about it. There's nothing anyone can do about it. You're just sort of watching it go, and there you go. Bruno Fernandes has lashed it. Top bins, 3-0 down, but the frustrating thing for me, again, to move away from the actual free kick itself and the goal itself, which let's be honest, was an absolute beauty. Nobody can deny that. It's the manner in which we're giving away free kicks. You would think that this group of players has learned the lesson that when you come up against sides like Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes, like Manchester City with Kevin De Bruyne, like Chelsea with, you know, some of their free kick takers, you'd think that we'd learn to not give away stupid free kicks in silly areas on the edge of the box, because these teams have got genuinely world-class players who train day in, day out to be in those scenarios. Everton must be, in regards to IQ, and football and IQ, Everton must be one of the, you know, the lowest sides in the Premier League for it, because there's not a point where we go, do you know what, actually I won't make that foul there because Bruno Fernandes is there licking his lip thinking if I get a free kick here I'm burying it top in. We make the foul, we give away the foul, we give away the free kick in a silly area, free kicks we don't need to give away, and then we gift these opportunities to these world-class players, and okay, not taking anything away from Fernandes, it was an amazing strike, but you know, he does that in his sleep. Was anybody surprised by the Bruno Fernandes free kick? Because I wasn't whatsoever. I was frustrated at the fact that Everton had given away another free kick in a silly area, because how many times did we see last season us give away free kicks in silly areas? And even if it doesn't get directly put into the back of the net by the free kick taker, the ball's getting put in a dangerous area and we're putting ourselves in situations that we simply don't need to be in, and it's frustrating. But anyway, like I said, ball goes in the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes buries one. It's 3-0, 30 minutes in. And you're sort of thinking this is going to be a nightmare, this. You know, a lot of people at this point, I'd probably turn the televisions off. I don't know, I wasn't at the game, so I don't know whether there was fans that had left the ground, but according to the commentators, there was fans that had left the ground. So again, it wasn't great, was it? And it is really disappointing, because look, we understand it's pre-season, and it's about fitness and all of that. I've said that about 100 times. I'm just trying to convince myself that this performance and result isn't actually as bad as it seems. But look, regardless of whether it's pre-season or not, we're a week away. If this friendly had been in again July, 2 weeks into pre-season, or let's say we wouldn't have gone to Florida and we'd have played Manchester United, within the first week of when the Florida Cup was, and we'd have lost 4-0, you'd have been looking at it going, okay, we've lost, we've been sampled on, but these are a much better side. It's only pre-season, and we've still got a couple of weeks to prepare ourselves for the league. The league is a week away, and again, I get it. They're a very good side, and there's not many sides in the Premier League that have the quality of Manchester United. I understand that. But it's still frustrating, isn't it? There's still a part of you, or certainly there's a part of me, I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but there's still a part of you that goes, that is a little bit worried, especially defensively. Look, I had no real issue with Everton's attack on Saturday, first half or second half, I didn't. I'll talk about the second half in a minute, but I thought the second half we were much, much better. And first half wise, again, I don't think the attack had done an awful lot wrong, to be honest. They weren't massively in the game, but to say, we were coming up against Manchester United with no striker on the pitch, Dominic Calvert-Lewin out, Moise Keane out, obviously Richarlison still in the Olympics. Big congratulations to Richarlison, by the way. He did win Olympic gold on Saturday, just after Everton had been sampled over by Manchester United. It was confirmed that Brazil had beaten Spain in the Olympics final, thanks to a goal in extra time by Malcolm, I believe it was. And thus meaning that Richarlison has won a gold medal at Tokyo 2020, which is absolutely unbelievable. So massive congratulations to Richarlison. But we were without Richarlison, of course, as well. So the forward line, again, although nothing was created and there wasn't really many clear chances, I thought Damari Gray was working hard. He was trying to get into the right areas. He was trying to move the ball. And just Townsend obviously at the bar in the second half, which we'll talk about, but again was trying to get into those areas, trying to move the ball well. James Rodriguez, I can't lie, didn't do anything of any note, really, did he? Didn't do anything of any note at all. But again, don't really blame him for that, to be honest with you, because of the lack of support he had from the midfield. It was more the defence. that frustrated me, to be honest. It was more the defence that frustrated me a little bit, because again, although Yerry Mina would have, normally I would say Yerry Mina would be in that starting 11 over a Michael Keane. You've still got Seamus Coleman there, who at this moment looks like he'll be starting Premier League games next season. He shouldn't be, but at the moment we haven't got a right back, and the Premier League season starts in 5 days. You still had Luca Dean, who again is our number one left back. You've still got Ben Godfrey there, who's one of our 2 centre halves. Jordan Pickford, who's the number 1 goalkeeper. You've still got a midfield of Alan, Decore, Alex Iwobi. I was again not upset, but disappointed with their performances, to be honest. I thought Alan looked really, really off the pace. Might just be me, and again, it might just be a one-off game. I like Alan, I think he's a good footballer, but I thought he looked off the pace at the weekend. I did. I just don't think he looked like he could get near any Manchester United player, and maybe that is the golfing class between Manchester United's midfield and Everton's midfield. Maybe that's the lack of fitness that Alan possesses compared to some of Manchester United's midfielders, but they just looked like a distinct and worrying difference there. Abdoulaye Doucouré wasn't really in the game, so that was what frustrated me and sort of worried me the most, was the defence in the midfield just looking, again, completely off the boil compared to Manchester United. But obviously, pre-season, all about fitness, take it with a pinch of salt, all of this sort of stuff. But anyway, yeah, we go in at half-time, 3-0 down, and you're sort of thinking, Everton FC.com decided to throw on the highlights of the Florida Cup, which was great to see. Brilliant when we're 3-0 down in our final pre-season game. Yeah, just lash on a video of us beating, Millonarios in Florida. And then obviously we moved into the second half, which I actually thought was much, much better than the first half, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's get into some of the live comments. Loads of people in the comments tonight. Thank you all very, very much. It's a late one today. It's 9:25, so I really do appreciate everybody for getting involved. Honestly, it means a lot. So big thanks to everybody, of course. Everton Blues says, hi Cam, hi mate, hope you're doing well. Jason says, hi Cam, is right Jason. Tom says, hi Cam, hi John. Tom, if you're enjoying, by the way, don't forget to leave a like. It only takes a second. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a massive amount to me, and yet share the stream as well. Everton Blue says, Cam, Marco Silva is the new man, managing Fulham now, of course, in the Championship. Really interesting. I don't think Fulham played so far. Surely they've played so far, unless they play tonight. Jason says, I haven't seen the goals or any action, so I won't butt in. Yeah, look, again, to summarise it, the first goal was a dreadful mistake. The second goal was a header from a corner that Everton should have dealt with a lot better. That was the second goal, yeah. The third goal was an unbelievable free kick. Don't get me wrong, no goalkeeper in the world was saving it. However, silly free kick to give away. And the fourth goal, which we'll talk about in a moment, was, again, for me, a mistake by Yerry Mina. But there you go. Some people didn't seem to think it was a mistake by Yerry Mina. I got a little bit of stick on Twitter for that, weirdly, even though it was blatantly Yerry Mina's fault. But anyway. Stephen says, yes, brother, we got our asses kicked, but it meant Nottingham brought players, those off real team, not B teams they've been playing. Yeah, well, yeah, again, like I said, it was the biggest test. And look, it's not, some will say, yeah, Cam, it was the biggest test, but we got our asses kicked, so, is that a positive? Look, it's pre-season, and again, the Southampton team will play on Saturday will be nowhere near the level of that Manchester United team that we played last Saturday. Stephen says, Cam is a legend, the Mighty Blues rule, come on you Blues. It's right, mate, thank you very much. Everton Blues says, Cam, Marco Silva is a manager now, he manages Fulham. Stephen says, good to go the game and have a piss-up shame about the football. That's all it's about, mate, that's all it's about, isn't it? Getting back the ground and watching the Blues. Look, it wasn't a great result, but how amazing was it, mate, to be back in that ground? Not that ground as in Old Trafford, but back watching the Blues in a football stadium. Lee says, we had the greatest number of injuries last season and still finished with 59 points. We haven't lost anyone, signed better players, yet people still think it's doom and gloom. Well, that's it, mate. Look, again, I think at the moment it's difficult because, I get the frustration amongst fans. I get that fans want to sign, your Denzel Dumfries, and we wanted Leon Bailey, and I understand all of that, but given Everton's financial situation at the moment, bringing in those types of players just isn't feasible. It's not feasible. We're not bringing in my opinion anyway, and I don't know anything that nobody else knows, but in my opinion, we're not bringing in Denzel Dumfries without a sale in this squad. Now, at the moment, as it currently stands on the 9th of August at 20-9, it doesn't look like Moise Keane will be leaving Everton because nobody's put a bid in for him yet. PSG looks set to be signing Lionel Messi, so they definitely won't be wanting Moise Keane back. There was rumours about Inter Milan wanting to bring him in. They've apparently got other names on their list ahead of Moise Keane. So at the moment, Moise Keane will be an Everton player next week when we play, or this Saturday, when we play Southampton, and for the foreseeable future. James Rodriguez, been a lot of rumours about him over the last 48, 72 hours or so. However, a lot of those rumours are ending in, the statement that whichever team is interested in him, be it AC Milan or somebody else, they simply can't afford his wage. So it looks at the moment like he'll be an Everton player next season. So who are we really selling that's gonna bring in any form of sustainable income that we can then push out on incoming players? We don't want to sell Richarlison. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I don't think he'll leave. Luca Dean just signed a new contract. He's not going to leave. Ben Godfrey, we're not going to sell. So yeah, you might get rid of some of your fringe players. You might lose your Fabian Delph. You might lose your John Joe Kennys. But those players aren't going to bring in any real money. They're not going to bring in any real transfer fees for us to go out and go, right, okay, we'll go and buy Denzel Dumfries now. If we sell 4 or 5 of them, then maybe, but certainly not 1 or 2 of them. So again, look, we've strengthened the squad. It might be a difficult season, and I would assume at the moment that it will be a difficult season, to be honest with you, just because I've got this feeling that not necessarily difficult in regards to where we'll finish position wise. I've just got this feeling that it'll be a tough season at times to watch, but we'll wait and see. Look, we don't have to be all doom and gloom about it. Let's wait and see. Eugene says Atalanta Iwobi. Yeah, read that today. Stephen says just there, someone is after Iwobi. Eugene says Dumfries blowers Inter agreed deal. Well, look, Inter obviously have sold Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea for whatever it is, £130 million. Might even be selling Lautaro Martinez to Tottenham as well, which will be for a lot of money. I think 50 million or something like that, 60 million that was touted. So again, Inter, if it was between Inter and Everton, Inter will certainly have the funds that Everton don't have at the moment. Yeah. Peter says, where are we by Christmas? Will give us an idea of where we will finish, I reckon. Yet, spot's on, mate. Keith says, geez, lol, have a drink every time Cam says pre-season. Stephen says, our best centre-back partnership is Keane and Mina. I'd say Godfrey and Mina personally, but fair enough. Jason says, I wonder if we'll see Richie this side of the international break. I guess after the Olympics, he will have a break. He will have a break. We might see him maybe for Brighton. Oh, no, probably not Brighton. I think we might see him for the game prior to the international break if we're lucky. Dennis says, what was the attitude of the lads like? Good chemistry between the players. Well, the first half was an utter shambles, mate. The second half, which we'll talk about in a moment, was a lot better. Where are we? Ant says, hey up Cam, what's happening, Ant? Kev says, we got slapped about. We did. Will says, so true what you just said, Cam. Cheers, Will. Eugene says, Everton waiting game could lead to repeat on frantic deadline day dash. There you go. Lee Dyke says, can we be doing the under-23s reports again on Toffee TV? It will be good to hear if Dominic sets and improve. Maybe, mate, maybe. I'll talk to Baz and Ped about that. We might get that sorted again, maybe. But Lewis Dobbin has been in brilliant form at the moment. And Andy says, I'm excited for when we start playing well this season and give Cam a reason to say bish, bash, bosh, bish, bash, bosh. I love that one. Insight from Portugal regarding Matheus Nunes. There you go. Eddie says hi. And EFC says, Cam, what's your dream kebab, chicken, doner, sauce, salad, important stuff? Chicken kebab, barbecue chicken kebab. In fact, there's a scran gaff, is what we call it in Liverpool, which is basically a takeaway. Round by my house that does a barbecue chicken kebab. Unreal scran, absolutely unreal scran. I have salad, all the salad, lash it on, and garlic mayo, mate. Garlic mayo. No doner, not a fan of doner. Might have the odd garlic mayo and a bit of sweet chili if I'm feeling hot. Not sweet chili, sorry, if I'm feeling hot. But typically it's just the garlic mayo because it does the job. Anyway, we will get back into the live comments in a moment. What a boss question that was to swiftly move on from. But let's get into the second half because for me the second half was a lot better than the first half on Saturday. Look again. We didn't score and obviously we didn't create a plethora of chances. It wasn't like we're sitting here saying we absolutely battered Manchester United in the second half. We didn't. Let's be honest, we didn't. But it was a lot better. There was a lot more positives to take from it. For the start, we were completely trampled all over in the second half. Yes, they scored the fourth goal, in the last seconds of the game. Manchester United have done that often against Everton recently, haven't they? They've done it twice, I think, last season. We were getting back into the game and really fighting, and then they went up the other end, counter-attacked and scored a goal that just completely took the game out of our hands. It often happens against Manchester United. We need to watch that. But no, we come out for the second half, and like I said, we looked a lot more menacing. We looked like we were again, like Benitez basically had a word with all of the players and said, look, that's not good enough. You need to be better than that. And that's how it seemed in the second half, because we come out and we fought a little bit more. I think there was a bit more organisation in the midfield. We weren't making silly defensive mistakes, albeit I think Manchester United at this point had maybe taken the foot off the pedal a little bit, and they weren't coming at us as heavy. But again, regardless of that, we weren't making defensive mistakes. We weren't exposing ourselves, because, like I said, for me, all 3 goals that we conceded in the first half are avoidable. All 4 goals we conceded, all afternoon, were avoidable. But the 3 in the first half were so massively avoidable. Man United didn't force us into making a mistake for the first goal. Jordan Pickford basically threw it at Mason Greenwood and went, go ahead, score. Harry Maguire effectively looked at Luka Dean and went, I'll beat you in a jump, so I'll go and get on you. And the third goal, like I said, unbelievable free kick, but such a stupid free kick to give away in a stupid area. So it wasn't like, we were sitting here and we'd been trampled on in regards to Manchester United forcing us into making mistakes. We made our own mistakes, and stupidly enough, they capitalised from that, or stupidly enough for us, we made the mistakes and they capitalised on it. But like I said, we come out in the second half and we looked a lot better. Let's have it right. We looked a lot better. It still wasn't amazing, but we were getting at them a little bit more. We were trying to create chances. There was a couple of opportunities where Damari Gray and Alex Iwobi played nice 1-2s, and I think Alex Iwobi played a good ball across the box, and Damari Gray just couldn't get on the end of it. There was a couple of good crosses in the box, and like I said before, again, not going to sit here and use it as an excuse, but the lack of having any number 9 on the pitch really hindered us. Not having Dominic Calvert-Lewin there, not having Moise Kean there to be on the end of those balls into the box, for me, just, again, it massively hindered us. It did, and you sort of looked at it and thought, well, what can we do, really? You've got Damari Gray, who's not a natural striker, trying to get in those areas, but naturally, he's wanting to pick the ball up in midfield and create the chances rather than finish them. James Rodriguez at this point wasn't really in the game. I think he'd gone off at this point. Alex Iwobi wasn't really doing much. Again, Andros Townsend was trying to get in the areas, but isn't a natural striker, so was finding himself in wide positions. So we didn't have the best of luck, did we, effectively? I think if we had Dominic Calvert-Lewin on Saturday, it might have been a different situation. I'm not saying we'd have won the game, I'm not saying we'd have got back in the game, but I certainly think we'd have probably scored, a goal, or we'd have threatened Manchester United a lot more than we did without him, because I just think not having that natural striker really hindered us. But we did end up hitting the bar. Ball comes in. Like I said, menacing ball comes in down that left-hand side. I think it's Luka Dean plays it in. Brilliant ball across the box. And Andros Townsend, you would think, has got a pretty comfortable finish at the back post, but I think he just hits it too good, to be honest with you, if any. And I know there's that saying in football, and some people would say, don't be silly, Cam, you can't hit it too good, but I actually think he hits it too good. He hits it so clean. It's like his left foot is like just a wand, and every time the ball comes off it, it's just coming off it at about 352 billion miles an hour. Lashes off his left foot and obviously smacks the bar two times. Andros Townsend's at the bar in his Everton career now. He's only been here, 2.5 weeks. So, yeah, absolutely smacks the bar, and Manchester United get away with one. A real wake-up call, obviously. If they'd gone to 3-1 at that point, then you would have liked to have thought that Everton had attacked and, maybe brought the likes of Anthony Gordon on, Lewis Dobbin on a bit later, and had that, bit of fight to go at Manchester United. But I must say, I do think that the second half was a lot better than the first half. I think we were a lot more structured. I think that, Rafa Benitez probably had a little bit of a go at the players at half-time and said, look, what's going on? It's a shambles. It's an absolute shit show, sorted out. Like I said, we saw the likes of Asmir Begovic come on for the second half. He looked solid, again, didn't make any mistakes, but wasn't really pressured an awful lot either, to be honest. Manchester United didn't have an awful lot of opportunities in that second half. Obviously, John Joe Kenny come on, Mason Holgate, seen Fabian Delph, Yerry Mina come onto the pitch, you will talk about in a second. Anthony Gordon, Tom Davis, I think all featured. Nathan Broadhead come on, as well as obviously young Lewis Dobbin, who come on towards the end of the game. But like I said, we looked better, and whether that is because Manchester United, took the foot off the pedal and sort of thought, right, well, we're 3-0 up here, we don't want to risk any injuries, and maybe told Bruno Fernandes and Anthony Martial to just sort of slow it down a little bit. Maybe some United fans would go, yeah, it only looked half good in the second half because we slowed it down, and maybe that's right. maybe that's right, but we just looked more confident. We just looked more confident, and we just looked more comfortable within the game. And yeah, like I said, good to see young Lewis Dobbin come on the pitch. Good to see young, Lewis Dobbin sort of getting involved. Looked good, to be fair. Again, looked still very young and difficult to tell whether or not he's ready or not to sort of fit in and mix it up with Premier League level footballers. But he was winning free kicks in good areas. He was using his brain. He wasn't just, it wasn't the typical, young player getting his first team debut and sort of trying to get on the ball and take on 450 players and trying to hit one from 55 yards. He wasn't. If he couldn't go anywhere, he was holding the ball up well. He was winning the ball. He was winning fouls. He was, toppling over if he needed to, winning us free kicks. I thought he was really, really impressive. Like I said, Yerry Mina to come on. Great to see him back in an Everton shirt again, obviously after the international break. Yeah, like I said, the second half was better. Still wasn't great to watch because, we were 3-0 down and we didn't do anything, but it was a lot better. We looked a lot more comfortable. We looked a lot calmer than we did in that first half. In that first half, as soon as we conceded, we just looked absolutely all over the place. Obviously, Man United did score a fourth goal. Not much happened in the second half, to be honest, other than that goal, but they did score a fourth goal. So look, it's interesting, and we have to talk about it. I don't know whether I'm the only Evertonian on the planet here who believes that this goal was the fault of Yerry Mina. I've seen some people blaming Asmir Begovic for it. I don't quite understand why. Look, Asmir Begovic was chipped from 15 yards by a header from Diego Dalot, who's not very tall, but I just think that Yerry Mina shouldn't be allowing Diego Dalot to win that header. I really, really don't. And again, understandable. Same. I give the same, not excuse, but reasoning that I give for Jordan Pickford. First week back in training, obviously after the international break, after going away with Colombia and playing over the summer. So same reason as to why I'm not going to sit here and have a go at Jordan Pickford and start going in on Jordan Pickford and this, that and the other. I'm not going to do it on Yerry Mina either. However, I must admit, I do think Yerry Mina was at fault. I just don't think he should be. I just don't think he should be allowing Diego Dalot to win that header. I really, really don't. But ultimately, Diego Dalot wins the header, ends up chipping it over Asmir Begovic. Ball goes into the back of the net. It's 4-0, and then the referee blows his whistle. And Everton have lost their final pre-season friendly quite dramatically by Manchester United in a manner that we never really wanted to see, did we? Look, again, as I said at the start of the live stream, Manchester United are a very good side. Very, very good side. And, again, a side with ridiculous amounts of quality and a side that will challenge Manchester City for the Premier League title this season. Whether we want to admit it or not, they will challenge Manchester City for the Premier League title. So losing to Manchester United at Old Trafford isn't the end of the world. Certainly not losing a pre-season friendly to Manchester United at Old Trafford. That's not the end of the world at all. The way in which we lost is disappointing and it's frustrating. I understand that, certainly given how close we are to the Premier League season. But look, it's a friendly. We have to keep telling ourselves it's a friendly. It's all about fitness. It's all about players getting out there and getting that experience. Obviously, like I said, we were without a couple of our key players, so you have to talk about that as well. And yeah, look, it was a test, and it was a test that we couldn't overcome. And maybe it was a defeat that we needed. Maybe it was a defeat that Rafa Benitez needed to see that how these players react when they go 1-0 down, how these players react when they go down to a side that are better than us in regards to quality, how they can pick themselves back up. Can they pick themselves back up and go again, or do their heads drop? Is it very much feeling sorry for themselves, as we've seen on a number of occasions with this squad previously, last season and the season before? And I think Rafa Benitez would have learned and seen an awful lot from Saturday's performance, and hopefully he can, again, like I said, put in place what he needs to put in place before Saturday's game against Southampton, because one thing's for sure is that we can't be going out and putting in a first half performance like we did on Saturday against Southampton. Obviously, Southampton are nowhere near as good of a side as Manchester United are, and I do think Everton will beat Southampton on Saturday. I do, because look, again, first game back at Goodison Park for the majority of Evertonians. I think the atmosphere will be absolutely booming, but it was a lesson. That's what I'd say. It was a lesson learned on Saturday, and not a nice lesson, not one we all wanted, Not one we all. I don't think we expected to be beaten that heavily. Beaten, yeah, maybe 1-0, 2-0, maybe 2-1, 3-1, maybe, but 4-0, and certainly given that first half performance, it was quite a heavy beating. Like I said, very reminiscent of the last time we played in Manchester, unfortunately. But again, it's pre-season, and you get those types of results out the way in pre-season. I'd rather lose 4-0 to Man United in pre-season than in December or November, whenever we play them in the Premier League. I'd rather Jordan Pickford make a howler of a mistake a week before the Premier League season starts than a week into the Premier League season starting. So let's hope we can learn from our mistakes. We can take those lessons away and we can work on them ahead of, obviously, Saturday's game against Southampton. Anyway, let's get into some of the live comments before we finish up then. Paul says, Leeds fan looking in. Were Everton poor or scum good? We have them first on Saturday. I think we will get a result. Our pre-season games have been against Real Betis, Ajax, and Villarreal, a class above. I don't know who you're talking about there. You haven't got Everton on Saturday. We've got Southampton. Is it the under-23s? I don't know. Young Lewis Dobbin, who, like I said, if you're talking about the under-23s, young Lewis Dobbin obviously come on the pitch against Manchester United, and like I said, looked really good and has been absolutely electric for the under-23s recently. I actually think Lewis Dobbin, not Dobson, I think Lewis Dobbin, if he carries on in the way in which he's going, I think you'll see Lewis Dobbin in Premier League squads a lot more this season. Mightn't be playing games, but he'll certainly be in and around first team training an awful lot more. Paul says, have you lot warmed a bit to Benitez, or is it unlikely to happen? Where do you think you'll finish top 8? Yeah, I've warmed. I'm happy. Listen, again, there was some chance going about the stadium of wanting them to be sacked and this, that, and the other. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's fair enough. And I'll never try and tell anybody they're not entitled to their own opinion, because everybody is. But for me, it's utter nonsense. Put it this way, and I'll stick to this point forever. People can come at me as much as they want. I'll stick to this point forever. Carlo Ancelotti loses that game heavily on Saturday as well. So we can sit here all we like and talk about Rafa Benitez. We can sit here all we like and talk about it was awful. We lost. We only played one decent team in pre-season and we got battered. Hang on. Carlo Ancelotti turned around in Manchester on the last game of the season, a game that we had European football riding on, and got absolutely slapped about and didn't do anything about it by Manchester, albeit against Manchester City. I get it, but we were dreadful in the last game of the season as well. So listen, Carlo Ancelotti loses that game on Saturday as well. Let's not get it twisted. Semi says, hashtag beat Southampton. Yeah, let's hope so. Remy says, some measure of both, Paul. I think we'll finish top 8. I do think we'll finish top 8 personally. I think it might be a difficult season, but I think it'll be a season that we will. I think we'll finish in a better position than we did last season, put it that way, in my opinion. I think this could be a season very reminiscent of those of the David Moyes years, personally, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You might say, oh, that's awful, this, that, and the other, and it mightn't be great to watch footballing-wise, week in, week out, but in regards to the league position and finish, I think I honestly think we'll be better than we were last season, personally, anyway. Gavin says, what do you expect? We get Claude Pickford back, Keane, Coleman starting, the slowest centre mid ever in Alan, no backup striker, and Immobile on the bench in Townsend. We'll again, hopefully Dominic Calvert-Lewin's fit for Saturday. Rafa said it was, or Everton said it was only a slight knock, so again, shouldn't be anything too serious. Yeah, spot on, Dosberg. He did get a new orifice ripped. Zane says, anyone know if you'll need proof of vaccination for away games or just Goodison? Probably away games as well, mate. I assume it'll be the same, proof of vaccination or a negative test. We spoke about that on Friday's live stream. If you haven't watched Friday's live stream, we spoke about the return to Goodison Park. We read Everton's statements on what you need to bring with you, where you need to be, this, that, and the other. So go and watch that one after this one. If you've enjoyed it, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a massive amount to me. Like I said, no video tomorrow. It is the missus' birthday, so I'm really busy. But we will be back on Wednesday with a season preview, talking about the whole season as a whole, my expectations, where I think Everton will finish, etc., what I expect from the season, and then obviously we'll have the game preview to the opening Premier League game of the season against Southampton. That'll be Friday night. Bright says, question if they can. Listen, fire away, mate. When we said Keane, where's Keane and Gbamin? Gbamin was left out due to precaution. I don't know why. Moise Keane, I honestly don't know. The club didn't say, so who knows. Andrew says, looks like we missed out on Dumfries. Has seen Inter have agreed the deal according to reports in Italy. I haven't seen that, mate, yet, but it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. Ewan says, Everton clear path for Aston Villa to seal stunning £25 million transfer. Peter says, happy La Mushroom. There you go. There you go. Afrilan Mushroom. There you go, mate. There you go. Anzos Crossbar Townsend says Wormy is right. Semi says Townsend's middle name is practically Crossbar at this point. It is. It is. Is Holgate going, says Wormy. We don't know. There's been rumours of it, but nothing solid yet. We'll have to wait and see on that one. We'll have to, who's going to bid a decent amount for Mason Holgate? I like Mason Holgate, but who's going to bid the money that Everton would want for him? I don't think Everton will sign St. Maximum Eugene, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So yeah, there you go. But who knows? Semi says happy birthday to Jess. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Lee says, Cam, don't want to spoil anything for the birthday, but what name did you put on the back of her shirt? Calvert-Lewin. She's got a little thing for Calvert-Lewin, so it's Calvert-Lewin. Wimmy says happy birthday, Jess. Cheers, Wimmy. Appreciate it. Philip says yes, happy birthday. Bright says didn't watch it, mate. There's not jabbed. You can still watch the game if you're not jabbed, mate. But there you go. Paulo says, I share your opinion, Cam. It's only pre-season, but can't say I got a little concerned. Yeah, well, that's it. We can all get a little concerned. Listen, I think we were all a little bit worried about the game the other day, but look, ultimately it is only pre-season. Whammy says, what's all this now? This is more my time schedule. Have you got a new job, Cam? No, mate, I've just been mad busy today because of birthdays and stuff like that, so that's why we're a little bit later. Dodbrick says, hey Whammy, what's going on? Peter says, should have give Begovic a start on Saturday. Think score would have not been as bad. It's easy to say that, isn't it? It's easy to say he wouldn't have made the Pickford mistake, but he wouldn't have stopped Bruno Fernandes's free kick, and he wouldn't have stopped the header by Harry Maguire, so it'd have been at least 3-0. But yeah, Joshua says it's weird how PSG can sign Messi and we can't even spend 20 million on a player. FFP, mate, FFP. We're probably going to do an FFP video, to be honest with you. Just sitting down moaning about it. If anyone would be interested in watching that, let us know. Joshua says, couldn't even watch the game. My account wouldn't connect, lad. I didn't. Now, strange, mate, strange. But no, you didn't miss out. You didn't miss out. Dodrick says, I also want a surprise 30th birthday party at the weekend. I'm still hungover from it. Is right, mate. Happy birthday. Says, I think I drank like 8 or 9 pints, 5 shots of vodka and a whiskey. Mad. Absolutely mad, mate. And Eugene says, are you going to watch the Rafa Benitez press conference for the preview? I hope so. I hope to catch it and obviously talk about it on Twitter and the channel and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll be able to catch the presser. We'll wait and see. Toffee's linked with Longstaff, says Eugene. Yeah, we'll go through some of the rumours then before we finish up. Because we will be finishing up in a moment. But let's have a look at some of the latest Everton rumours before we do that. Because we may as well, because we're here and, you know, we're not going to be here until Wednesday now, so we may as well just have a little look at some of the rumours. I mean, you know, what harm does it do? It doesn't do any harm, does it? Doesn't do any harm if we sit here and talk about some rumours. Again, you know, what's going to... If me Twitter decides to load, Jerry Mean has put something on Instagram about signing for Everton on this day in 2018, saying he's so happy to be a Toffee, the best is yet to come. So Jerry Mina looks to be staying at the football club, which is amazing. Tutto Mercato Web, who are an Italian publication, they said earlier on this evening that Atalanta have inquired to Everton about Alex Iwobi. Yeah. Wait and see what happens with that one. I don't particularly believe it, but we'll wait and see. Inter Milan are preparing a £15 million offer to PSG for Denzel Dumfries to replace Akram Hakimi, according to Mundo Deportivo. They report in Italy as well. We'll wait and see on that one. It wouldn't surprise me, though. The Athletic reported that Rafa Benitez is monitoring Newcastle United midfielder Sean Longstaff. Interesting. And Ikram Konur have said that former Newcastle United striker Solomon Rondon has been offered to Everton. Again, nothing surprising there. I'm sure Solomon Rondon will have been offered to Everton because he's worked under Rafa Benitez before and he's needing a new club. In regards to Sean Longstaff, I've seen some rumours talking about potentially Tom Davis going the other way. I wouldn't be happy with that at all. Sean Longstaff as a player, yeah, he's not massively exciting, is he? Personally, I don't think he's good enough for Everton. He's a good player, but I don't think he's good enough for Everton personally. But look, that's coming from the Athletic, and I think Everton have been looking at Sean Longstaff for a number of years now, not just Rafa Benitez. And again, Rafa Benitez, obviously ex-Newcastle manager, wouldn't surprise me that at all. So we'll wait and see how those rumours pan out over the next couple of days and weeks. But anyway, look, I'm going to finish it there then. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. And if you're watching this YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. Really do appreciate it. Mike says, all Toffee channels reporting on this game 48 hours after it happened when you normally race to provide a review. So sad, the conspiracy of silence denying fans hot and honest reviews. No conspiracy, mate. No conspiracy. I decided with the channel that we were going to do a review for every pre-season game, but not an instant match reaction and not a player ratings, purely just because the pre-season and, you know, you take a little bit more time to digest them and take away things from them. But rest assured that for the Southampton game on Saturday, there'll be an instant match reaction probably about 15 minutes after the game's finished, because that's how long it takes to record them, and there'll be a player ratings directly after that as well, and then there'll be a game review on the Monday after the game as well. So all of the regular player ratings, previews, reviews, instant match reactions, they'll all be back for the season. I just thought for pre-season, instead of doing previews and talking about, you know, a pre-season game that doesn't really mean an awful lot, and then instant match reactions where we'll be saying the same stuff as we do on reviews, I thought we'd just do a review to sort of, again, analyse the game in a whole. But rest assured that for the Premier League games and the Cup games and stuff, instant match reactions, player ratings, all of that good stuff will be back. So anyway, massive thanks for watching. Eugene says, see you about the top and see you Wednesday morning. Cheers, Eugene. Jonathan says, good night, mate. Cheers, Jonathan. Good night. Hope you all have a fantastic week, by the way. Semi says, thanks, Cam. Take care, everyone. Cheers, mate. Yeah, and Whammy says, see you guys. And it shit, yeah. There you go. Big thanks, Whammy, and big thanks to everybody for watching. If you're watching us in the YouTube as a YouTube video, leave your comments down below and we'll get involved with as many of them. Big thanks for watching. See you on Wednesday. Not a great result on Saturday, but look, we all look forward to the game that we'll all be talking about for the rest of the week, which is Southampton on Saturday. Massive thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.